When you ask people how they're doing, are you asking just because it's like standard protocol, like, hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Or are you asking because you genuinely care about how people are doing? And I have this question right now because I am specifically in a season of deeply caring about how you're doing. A few years ago, Zell, I created a habit of either not asking people how they're doing or being prepared for a real answer, like encouraging people to give me a real answer. Because there are so many people who walk around throughout their day with nobody really caring about what they're doing. And we're just giving these autopilot responses like, oh, I'm good, or oh, girl, busy and blessed. And that's not the episode that we're going to do today. Like, I really, really, really want to dig deeper. I do. Because I don't believe that you can be successful, even if you make a whole lot of money as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, if how you're really doing is suffering on the inside and nobody around you notices. My name is Donnie Wiggins, and this is Full Transparency with Donnie Wiggins. I just so happen to be your favorite business coach, but today I want to talk about you emotionally right now. Where are you emotionally? Where are you mentally? Where are you spiritually? See, I know what it feels like to be going through something and being the strong friend, going through something and having people around you that don't notice because you are a professional, you are a master at pushing through. And this isn't the episode where I want you to push through. This is the episode where I want you to gain some perspective. Maybe you're in a season of transition right now. Maybe your heart is heavy and you just don't have the words. Maybe you're grieving and you don't know what to say. You don't know how you need help. You don't know how you need to be supported. Maybe you're overwhelmed, you're burned out, you're tired, you're struggling. Maybe you are just numb. This is not the episode that I want you to skim through and watch until the end that motivates you to just keep pushing through. This might be your time to pause. This is me checking in with you. I'm not checking in with just your goals. But this is us. We're going to do some work today to check in with our soul. And in this episode, I have a list of notes, a list of questions in my notes that will hopefully help you reconnect, reset, rebuild, and get into a place where you are genuinely ready to live out loud again. Most of us move through life so fast that we stopped asking ourselves real questions. We stopped asking ourselves questions or even asking other people questions with the intent to get a real answer. What would you do? How would you respond if the next time in passing you said, how are you today? Someone really told you how they're doing today. And it wasn't great. It wasn't perfect. It was sad. It was grief. It was hurt. It was heartbreak. It was a lot of stuff. Are you prepared for that answer? Even more, what if someone asks you how you're doing today? How you really doing? Are you prepared to speak about it? We're in a season right now. We're in a world right now where people prioritize productivity and output over well-being. And I just think that's sad. I think it's sad to condense the value of human life into your accomplishments. Accomplishments are important. They say a lot about you. They say a lot about how you live your life and how you spend your time. But let's talk about your well-being. Let's also factor in your well-being. See, happiness says a lot about you too. Mental stability says a lot about you too. We overfunction sometimes so that we don't have to feel. We'll sit in our homes and we'll work. We'll go to work and go to the second job and do the next thing, whatever it is, so that we don't have to feel a thing. We even serve others sometimes at a very high level while starving ourselves privately. Hey, entrepreneurs who are seeking personal growth, financial growth, and professional growth. That ultimately means you are looking to shift your life, grow your business, make more money, and have better money habits. You need mentorship. You need a community of people who are on the same pathway and have a very similar goal as you. Hi, I am Donnie Wiggins, the CEO and founder of Actionable CEO. I have built business after business after business. I work behind some of the most renowned brands that are out right now, helping them to start, grow, and scale their businesses. And I would love to do the same thing for you too. Inside of Actionable CEO, we create new habits, we unlearn limiting beliefs, and we work together to take massive action on our business. If you are someone who needs the accountability, you need the community, and you need the mentorship, I invite you to come on over and check out Actionable CEO. Become a member. I'll see you there. Bye. Healing and clarity, renewal, it all begins with one thing. The whole reason that I started this podcast, Full Transparency. Healing, renewal, rebuilding starts with you being honest and transparent with yourself first. You can't heal what you won't admit to. And that is the truth of the matter. You can't shift or change what you won't face. And we don't have to face it from a place of sadness. We don't have to face it from a place of condemnation. We can face it together with love and without judgment. So I have a couple of questions that I'm going to go to here, and I want you to actually do the introspective work and answer these questions. The first one, I think I'll do about 10. What's taking up most of my emotional energy right now? I want you to answer these questions. What's taking up most of my emotional energy right now? And how do you understand what I'm asking? How do you figure that out? Well, what's keeping you up at night? What's keeping you up? You can't sleep. You're tossing and turning. What situation is playing in your mind over and over and over again? What's something that you've been silently carrying for too long? And in what way do you feel unsupported? In what area do you feel like you don't have support? Nobody knows, nobody understands, nobody could help you. Sometimes you don't realize how much a situation is impacting you in a negative or hurtful way until we actually put a name on it. We address it. We know exactly what it is. Number 2, what emotions have I been avoiding feeling or expressing? What emotions have I been avoiding feeling or expressing? Have you allowed yourself to cry, to scream, to grieve? Or have you been suppressing it in the name of being strong? Have you been suppressing it in the name of pushing through? Everything is not push throughable. Some things we have to actually deal with. Are you afraid that if you really feel it, you won't recover from it? If you really allow yourself to experience that grief, if you really allow yourself to experience that pain, that heartbreak, that fear, that terror, that disappointment, are you afraid that you won't be able to recover from it? If you admit it out loud and you say, I'm hurt, I'm struggling, I am grieving, I miss them, I am tormented, saying it out loud won't prevent you from getting over it. Who or what taught you to numb this emotion? Still on the second question. What emotion have I been avoiding feeling or expressing? But I want to know why. Who or what taught you to numb this emotion? Is it society? Is it because of what people think about what a real man should be doing or what a real woman is supposed to do? Is it your parents? Is it a spouse? Is it someone who makes you feel like your feelings and emotions are not valid? Because avoiding your emotions don't make them disappear. They just transition into another form. You're tired, you're exhausted, you got mental fatigue, physical fatigue, you're irritable, you're disconnected, you have a hard time creating relationships. That's usually when you know that you are avoiding dealing with an emotional feeling. Number 3, what parts of me feel heavy and what parts of me feel light? Here are a couple of prompts to reflect on to understand how to answer that question. What areas of your life feel like a burden? I don't share this part of me because I don't want to burden you with my. What lights you up, no matter how small it is. It could be your favorite meal, a glass of wine, your kids coming and kissing you on the cheek. Where do you feel most at ease and where do you feel most anxious? Number 4, am I operating from alignment or am I operating on autopilot? In order to answer this question, you can ask yourself, when's the last time I made a decision intentionally, with intentionality versus just routine? Sometimes you make decisions based on whatever the routine is. You've been doing this so long, you're so comfortable, you've been going through the motions so much. When's the last time you made an intentional decision to say, no, this is actually what feels good to me. This is what I want to do, or this is what doesn't feel good to me, and it's what I don't want to do. What areas of your life have you just learned to tolerate? Because when you're on autopilot and you're operating from a place of being on autopilot, it produces progress without fulfillment. It also produces resentment, whereas alignment produces peace in the process. Number 5, where in my life do I feel most like myself or least like myself? Number 6, who or what do I need to lovingly release, even if it's just mentally? Sometimes we can't release people physically, but mentally, we can check out on some people. And there are some people that you mentally need to check out of. Prompts to help you answer this question. Is there a situation or a relationship that's ended, but you keep reliving it? Is there a should that you've been clinging to that's no longer serving you? Are you romanticizing someone, meaning they're showing you exactly who they are, but instead you keep ideating? You keep ideating the idea of who you'd rather them to be. Sometimes closure doesn't come from other people. Are you seeking closure from somebody? The disrespect, the intolerance, the irritability that you feel when they're around you, that's all the closure you need. You don't need them to explain themselves. Number 7, what am I grieving that I haven't fully acknowledged? Have I lost something? Am I grieving my old identity? Am I grieving a friendship? Am I grieving an old version of myself that I never really mourned? Am I grieving an actual loss? Did I lose someone and I'm grieving? And now I have to figure out how to live life without their advice, without their presence, without their smell, without their comfort. Grieving. Do you feel off, but you don't know why? Maybe you're grieving something. What have you been trying to push past that you really need to address and honor and get to the bottom of? Grief is more than death. It's what's left behind emotionally of things that could have been but wasn't. I could have been married, but we broke up, so it won't be. I could have had children, but I had the miscarriage and they told me I can't have kids, so it won't happen. I could have been this version of me so much longer ago, but I wasn't. Grief is the emotional residue of what could have been, but wasn't. Number 8, what's one thing I can do this week to feel more like me again? What used to make you smile before life got heavy? What were you doing before the grief, the disappointment, the regret, the hurt, the heartbreak? What makes you feel grounded, happy, even if it's just for 10 minutes? What's a small win that you can commit to this week just for you? The path back to yourself doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be some big announcement. It doesn't have to be this big production. Sometimes joy just starts with small doses. Go get the ice cream. Go get the ice cream. Go take your kids to the playground. Put on the lingerie. Trim up the beard. Whatever it is that you want to do, that even for 10 minutes, it just makes you feel like you again. What version of yourself, number 9, what version of yourself are you outgrowing, and who are you becoming in the process? What habits, beliefs, or coping mechanisms no longer fit where you're going? Am I clinging to a former version of me because I'm scared of what's next? Sometimes we'll hold on to our current identity because of the pressure of what our new identity might feel like to us. Who would I be if I gave myself full permission to evolve? You only need your own permission to evolve. Who would you be if you gave yourself full permission? Letting go of who you were is required to get to who you're meant to become. And number 10, what would I say to myself if I were sitting across from me right now? Would I extend grace, or would I be would I give criticism? Would I push harder, or would I tell myself, "Hey, girl, rest"? What would I say to the part of me that feels exhausted, discouraged, or uncertain? Speaking to yourself like someone you're responsible for encouraging is powerful. Sometimes it's the mindset shift or the trick that you can play on your own mind just to say, hey, I want to sit across from myself right now. And I'm just going to talk to this empty space right across from me and say, hey, what would you be doing right now? What were you doing when you were happy? Girl, you need to push through. You've been chilling for too long. Or you need to slow down. You have been going hard for far too long. You're allowed to not have it all together. You're allowed to go through a season where you feel like you're in pain. You're allowed to rest. Rest isn't always laziness. Sometimes it's wisdom. Sometimes it's the wisest choice, meaning that you are honoring what your body actually needs. You don't need to restart everything. You don't have to restart. Sometimes you just need to commit to what you already started. There is no shame in failure. There is no shame in burnout. There is no shame in grief. There is no shame in tears. There is no shame in being tired. There is no shame in feeling like you're behind. These are the realities that most people experience. I don't know a person who hasn't grieved, a person who hasn't failed, a person who hasn't hurt, a person who hasn't been heartbroken, a person who hasn't felt burned out, a person who hasn't felt like they were behind. I don't know that person. But what you should know, that while there is no shame in experiencing or feeling these things, what you must know and what you must commit to and what you must remain faithful about is that this season won't last forever. The season that you're in won't last forever. But the lessons that you learn, if you're paying attention to it, will. You're not broken. You are becoming. You're not lost. You are finding. You're not hiding. You are seeking. It's okay in the process to cry. It's okay in the process to scream, man or woman. I believe men should cry. Express themselves, be heard, communicate. Get around people who make you feel heard, who make you feel safe. Get around some people who feel like home. And you know that your pain is safe with them. Your grief is safe with them. You're not a burden to them. They protect your secrets. They protect your feelings. They protect your emotions. And while they're not responsible for your feelings directly, they care very deeply about their role in how they make you feel. Whatever it is that you're going through right now, it's important to know that it always feels worse when you're in it. It always feels like the worst case scenario. It always feels impossible to repair. Most people feel like they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Most people have a hard time believing that there will be a breakthrough. But this is not your ending. Sometimes it's just an intermission. This is not the period at the end of your sentence. It's a comma. And the beauty about learning through, not just going through, but learning through grief and hardship, heartache, is that powerful stories are always created. We get to experience these things so that we can impact other people. And I know it sucks. Like, why do I have to go through a hard time just to be impactful to other people? But it is the way that it is. Your testimony, your most powerful testimony comes from this grief, comes from the loss. It comes from the lack of clarity. It comes from the hurt. It comes from the heartbreak. It's the roots that you're building beneath the ground, so that if you keep believing, if you keep learning, if you keep having faith, once you break ground, you'll be breaking through with a solid foundation. I want you to pick one small promise to keep to yourself this week. See, when you're in the midst of grief and heartache, it's hard to commit to too much. So I don't want you to commit to too much, but I do want you to pick one small promise that you'll keep to yourself this week, that makes you feel good, that pours into you. Hey, I'm going to go for that 3-mile walk this week because of what the sun does for my energy, because of what it makes my body feel like. I'm going to drink the gallon of water I promised myself because I understand that nutrition and hydration is key. It's important to my brain clarity. It clears up brain fog. I'm going to work on my business for 1 hour. I haven't been able to get out of the bed for a month, but this week I'm going to work on my business for 1 hour. And here's one that's one of my favorites. This week, I am going to commit to not telling my pain to people who don't care. Sometimes we just want to get it off of our chest. Sometimes we just want to speak to be heard, but there are people who just don't care. They don't know how to care. It's not that they don't want to care. They don't know how to care. They're feeling what you feel. They're feeling what you feel, and they're so engulfed with their own trauma, their own grief, their own negative experiences, that they can't possibly present you with any viable options. I want you to give your feelings a voice, whether it's through speaking on them, through therapy, journaling about them, prayer, music, or just talking in the shower to yourself. Oh, I am a fan of talking to myself in the shower. I will be in the shower for 45 good minutes straight, just having a whole conversation with myself. I talk about me to me, and it helps to put so much into perspective. And then maybe think about asking for support. If you're anything like me, it's one of the hardest things to do, to ask for support. Sometimes we are carrying our pain, our grief, our struggle on our shoulders alone, but we don't have to. Sometimes people are just waiting for you to invite them in. Not everybody deserves access to your most personal feelings and most personal moments, but there is someone that can help you. There is somebody that you can talk to. Join a support group. Get a mental health therapist. Who's that one rational person in your family that you can talk to? But it's important to not suffer silently. Suffering silently will eat you up from the inside out. It causes stress on your body. It causes stress on your organs. It makes you feel sick. It makes you feel even worse. Try not to suffer silently. And here's the thing. You might feel like you lost yourself in the noise. I have felt before like I've lost myself and I got to get myself back. You might feel like you lost yourself in your role as a spouse or as a parent, as a friend, as a CEO, as a leader, as an employer. You might have lost yourself in the disappointment. But who you are deep down to the core of you, that person is not gone. That person is still there. It's just buried underneath the weight of everything that you've been carrying. But you can find yourself again. You can come back to yourself. I promise you. I've been there, done that more than once. And here's the thing. Life is going to life more than one time. There are no guarantees that making it through today will sustain you forever. 5 years down the line, maybe there's more grief, more heartache, more heartbreak, whatever it is. But in this season, you're going to learn the tools to equip you to deal with it in the future. You don't have to do it all today, but I definitely want you to check in. I definitely want you to be clear about how you're doing. How are you doing? How am I doing? Now, how am I really doing? And don't allow you to fluff yourself. Just take a deep breath. how am I doing? How am I really doing? Now, what's the truth about how I'm actually doing? How am I feeling? What am I struggling with? What am I dealing with? What am I ready to rebuild? Whatever the answer is, you are not alone. You are not stuck. You are not done. You are not finished. You are not canceled. You are not any of those things. Today, full transparency is about checking in with you, checking in on your soul, checking in on your spirit, and giving you some strategies to overcome some of this heaviness that you might be experiencing, because you're going to need those strategies. You're going to need your strength. You're going to need to overcome. You're going to need the story, the testimony that happens on the other side of this. You need you. We need you. The world needs you. How are you doing? Answer that question. Let's figure it out, and let's start to rebuild. This has been another episode of Full Transparency with Donnie Wiggins. I invite you to check out my mentorship community, Actionable CEO, where I mentor entrepreneurs in areas of personal development, professional development, and financial development. And I'd love to have you there so much that I even gift you 7 days free to come and check out the community to ensure that it's the place for you before you actually join. As usual, comment below what stood out for you most in this episode, and I will see you next week.